stumble across your work a few years ago, I became intentional about listening to my inner voice for the first time in my life. I think I just kind of carried along and there were voices, and I just thought if there were a lot of voices, that's probably mean I was going insane, so don't pay too much attention to all of them. But that's when, for the first time, I realized that I wasn't always as kind to myself as I would be to a friend. And what I found over the few years as I leaned deeper into a practice of self-compassion was that somehow I became stronger, a little bit more resilient than I was before. So I wanted to kind of touch on the link between self-compassion and resilience.
Yeah. So it's a very strong link again, and there's a lot of research around it as well. So it's really what you do when things are tough, you know, when you're under a lot of stress or COVID happens or a pandemic, right? So how do you relate to yourself when things are really tough? And again, the more you can be supportive to yourself, the more you can kind of assure yourself of your own presence. It's kind of weird, like, you know, maybe your parent, maybe your father left you. My father left me when I was young, you know. So we can't control whether or not other people leave us. That just, you know, but we can control whether or not we leave ourselves, right? And so by having our self-compassion practice, like we're always this constant sense of support for ourselves. You know, our own awareness never leaves. We forget about it, but it's always there, you know, and our own love as well is always, you know, there for the taking if we can access it. That's the thing. When we cut ourselves off from it, when we get lost in the storyline of this is so terrible or I'm so terrible, it's like we cut ourselves off from this support that's just right there under our noses, which is self-compassion, you know. And the way, and you know, some people need to work with the therapist to help access it, because if the blocks are really big, you know, maybe you were abused as a child, or you know, maybe you had a lot of trauma, those blocks are going to be more challenging. The research shows they can be worked through, but it may be a little slower, you know, and you may need a little help. It may be a little more destabilizing as you do it, but it absolutely can be done. Because the cool thing about self-compassion is you don't have to like earn it. It's something you've got to achieve. You don't have to be good enough. You don't have to like reach some bar to be self-compassionate. The only thing you have to be is a flawed human being to be worthy of self-compassion. And everyone can pass that bar. They may not realize it, but everyone can pass that bar. You know, even people who've done horrible things can pass that bar. You know, compassion encompasses all human beings who suffer. You don't have to like apply for an application to God and say, God, I like this. Can I please get back to me? You know,